In the grey drizzle of early 1970s London, when the city's skyline was still a collage of sub-street brick, fading neon, and post-war ambition, few could imagine that a quiet weekend would give birth to one of the most extraordinary heists in British history. The year was 1971, a time of growing mistrust, social upheaval, and whispers of corruption that stretched from Fleet Street to Parliament. But on a quiet street in the affluent district of Marylebone, an unassuming bank at 185 Baker Street would soon become the center of an audacious crime that seemed pulled straight from the pages of fiction. This is the true story of the Baker Street Burglary, London's secret vault break-in. It began not with gunfire, nor with masks and alarms, but with something far quieter, a whisper of opportunity and a rented shopfront. The bank in question was the Lloyds Bank branch at Baker Street, just a few blocks from the famous fictional address of Sherlock Holmes. Its vault lay deep underground, encased in thick concrete and considered impenetrable. Inside, hundreds of safe deposit boxes held fortunes in jewels, cash, and private papers belonging to London's elite businessmen, lords, politicians, and socialites alike. To most, Lloyds Bank was a fortress. To a small group of men, it was a treasure trove waiting to be claimed. Their plan was simple in theory. They would tunnel their way beneath the bank from the basement of a nearby shop, break into the vault, and help themselves to whatever they could carry. It was a plan that required patience, skill, and silence, and they had all three. The mastermind behind the operation was a man named Anthony Gavin, a former photographer turned petty criminal with a taste for meticulous planning. Alongside him were Thomas Stevens, a car dealer and amateur radio enthusiast, and Reg Tucker, an electrical engineer with an understanding of alarm systems. Together, they formed a team that, for months, blended into the city's background while executing a plan that would make headlines for decades. They began by renting a leather goods shop called Ellie Sack, located 2 doors down from the bank. Under the pretense of running a business, they spent weeks digging a tunnel beneath the floor, slowly making their way toward the bank's underground vault. The work was backbreaking. The men labored through dense clay and rock, lying on their stomachs for hours in narrow, suffocating spaces lit only by small lamps. Each night, they carried away the earth in bags, disposing of it discreetly among the city's refuse. The tunnel eventually stretched over 40 feet, supported by wooden beams and fitted with electric lighting. At first, no one suspected a thing, but fate, as it often does in stories of crime, had other plans. On the night of Saturday, September 11, 1971, 2 amateur radio operators sitting in their North London flat picked up something strange. Amid the usual chatter and static of local frequencies, a faint voice crackled through the air. "Let's go through the wall. There's no alarm." The men radio enthusiasts named Bob and Sheila froze. They adjusted their dials, thinking it was a prank. But the voices continued, low and urgent, discussing walls, faults, and a lookout on the roof. Realizing they might be overhearing a crime in progress, they called the police. What followed was one of the most unusual manhunts in Scotland Yard's history. Throughout that night and into Sunday, officers scrambled to trace the source of the transmission. Dozens of police cars fanned out across central London, with officers peering into alleyways and rooftops, pressing radios to their ears as they tried to triangulate the mysterious broadcast. By dawn, the trail had narrowed to Baker Street, but the police didn't know which building to target. There were dozens of shops, flats, restaurants, and the bank itself. Officers swept through the area, searching rooftops and basements, but by the time they reached Lloyds Bank, it was too late. The burglars were gone. When the vault was finally opened on Monday morning, the scale of the crime became clear. More than £3 million in cash, jewelry, gold, and valuables had vanished, the equivalent of nearly £40 million today. Over 260 safety deposit boxes had been broken open. Inside were not only money and jewels, but personal documents, letters, and photo secrets that could destroy reputations if revealed. And that was when the real mystery began. The police quickly realized that the crime had been planned with astonishing precision. The burglars had dug a perfectly aligned tunnel, avoided triggering the bank's alarms, and worked over a weekend when no staff were present. Even the radio chatter, picked up by accident, suggested a level of coordination far beyond that of petty thieves. But when investigators turned to the press, something strange happened. A government-issued notice, a rarely used national security order, was sent to British newspapers instructing them to stop reporting details of the burglary. The reason, officials claimed, was to protect the investigation. But to journalists, it felt like something more. Rumors began to spread that among the stolen contents of the vault were compromising photographs and documents possibly involving members of the royal family, politicians, or high-ranking officials. Some even claimed that the burglars had stumbled upon blackmail material so sensitive it could bring down governments. The tabloids whispered of sex scandals, royal connections, and state secrets, but no one could prove anything. Behind closed doors, Scotland Yard's flying squad, the elite robbery unit, was under immense pressure to find the culprits. They began tracing every lead, the rented shop, the tools left behind, and the underground passage itself. In the tunnel, they found cigarette butts, scraps of food, and discarded equipment, all clues pointing to a team that had lived underground for days. They traced the rental of Ellie's sack to Anthony Gavin. His connection to known burglars led them to a small criminal network operating in West London. Weeks later, the investigation paid off. Police arrested Gavin, Stevens, and Tucker, along with an accomplice named Benjamin Wolfe, who had helped finance the operation. During raids, officers recovered wads of cash, jewelry, and safety deposit box contents linked to the heist. But not everything was found. Much of the loot and possibly the rumored documents had vanished. When the men stood trial at the Old Bailey in 1973, the courtroom was packed. The prosecution detailed how the gang had rented the shop, tunneled through clay, and broken into the vault with military precision. The jury listened in fascination, occasionally laughing at the absurdity of the plot, a crime that seemed lifted from the imagination of Arthur Conan Doyle himself. The defense offered little resistance. The evidence was overwhelming. All 4 men were convicted and sentenced to 12 years in prison. But even with the verdict, the mystery refused to die. In the years that followed, journalists and conspiracy theorists alike continued to ask the same question. Why was the government so eager to silence the press? The official explanation remained vague, that details could compromise national security, but many suspected the truth was far more scandalous. Some claimed the burglars had targeted specific deposit boxes belonging to powerful individuals. Others whispered of hidden photographs involving members of the royal family, protected by a media blackout. Decades later, even retired police officers admitted that the secrecy surrounding the Baker Street case was unusual, while the burglary itself was solved. The full contents of what was taken and from whom were never revealed. And the tunnel, it was sealed shortly after the trial, filled with concrete and forgotten beneath the city. But the legend of the Baker Street burglary only grew stronger with time. In the 2000s, a new generation rediscovered the story through films and documentaries. Most notably, The Bank Job 208, which dramatized the heist and suggested a royal cover-up involving salacious photographs of Princess Margaret. Though officially fictionalized, the movie rekindled the idea that the burglars may have stumbled upon secrets worth more than gold. Today, the Baker Street burglary stands as one of the great capers of the 20th century, a perfect blend of criminal genius, political intrigue, and unanswered questions. Anthony Gavin and his crew never spoke publicly about the crime after their release. Most went to their graves without revealing what truly lay inside those stolen deposit boxes. The bank rebuilt, the scandal faded, but beneath the streets of London, the ghosts of that weekend in 1971 still linger. A reminder that sometimes truth really is stranger than fiction. And perhaps that's what makes this story endure, not just the crime itself, but the silence that followed. The sense that, in a city built on power and privilege, a handful of men once dug their way straight into its secrets, and then disappeared back into the dark. Thank you for watching Crimes Through Time. If this story fascinated you, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more journeys into history's darkest mysteries. And tell us in the comments, do you think Adelaide Bartlett was truly innocent? Or did she get away with the perfect crime? We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay curious, stay safe,